contrary to that clock, it's 7:30, so let's begin right away. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Greetings. This is the Alton Area Landmarks Candidates Forum. I'd like to thank RiverBender for allowing us to use this space for the forum. I thank them for getting it all set up. I'll make some brief remarks and then we'll get right into it. We have, if all the candidates take their 5 minutes, we have well over an hour of speaking, and I'd like to get through it. Every candidate will get 5 minutes. They can use it, they can talk, or they can talk and answer questions, but they'll get 5 minutes. I have a timekeeper down here. He's going to give a 1 minute cue at 4 minutes, and then the 0 cue, and that's time to get off. If you have enough time to take questions during your period, please make their questions short and to the point. Of course, it's sponsored by the Landmarks Association, and so we'd like all the candidates to speak to historic preservation in Alton. But I've already been warned there's like certain positions that have no influence over historic preservation, like the clerk or county supervisor, so that they won't be required to speak to that. This is not a rally, it's not a debate. I'd like, expect everyone to be civil and polite. There's no special order. I'm going to take volunteers. We'll just do it by volunteers. Let's all agree that we all love Alton and want the best for Alton. Now is the time to put your cell phones on vibrate. Is there any questions about the format? I already have a volunteer for the first one, Jim Ryan. Please introduce you, when you come up, please introduce yourself and what position you're running for.
Good evening. I'm Jim Ryan, and first of all, I'd like to thank the RiverBender, and I'd also like to thank Landmarks for putting on this forum. I'm Jim Ryan. I've been on the City Council for 10 years, and I just have a few remarks I want to make about historic preservation. I feel that both the Sandage and the Hakes administrations have been very historic preservation friendly. Some examples: with the assistance of the city's TIF program, the Laura building is now Laura Lofts. The Mississippi Lime building is now Mississippi Lofts. The Sears Snyder buildings are the Frew Bridal business. Russ Smith did a beautiful job of remodeling 108 West 3rd, which is right down the street here, and it is now the Olive Oil Marketplace. On a personal note, my grandfather had a men's clothing store in the 1920s in that building. The Cracker Factory will soon be luxury apartments. The historic Franklin House is now Lincoln Lofts Apartments. All this has been done with the assistance from the City of Alton. Now, two non-historic buildings, but very important, are the old Alton Boxboard building is now the Simmons Law Firm, and the old Alton Banking and Trust building is now the Zemer USA Corporation, bringing over 500 jobs to the City of Alton. The last point I want to make is that we at the city are always open to anyone who has any ideas, any plans to revitalize any building, historic or not. Any worthy project will be considered by us. And with that, I will answer questions, if anybody has any.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
As far as continuing the development of the high-speed rail going through Alton and the property that formerly was the Waterloo Municipal Golf Course, can you comment a little bit about that?
Well, I think this is a terrific opportunity for the City of Alton. I think this is going to be a state-of-the-art, multimodal system, train, bus. Train ridership is way up. This is going to there's going to be neighboring businesses. We still don't have a complete plan about what will happen with that entire site, but we're going to be very picky about what goes in there and what does not. Nobody wants any good. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
You mentioned 4 buildings that are undergoing restoration, and the last one on the list was what building? I'm not familiar with it.
The Franklin House, it's right over here.
No, I mean the newer buildings you mentioned.
Oh, the old Alton Banking and Trust. It's over by the Honky Building, between the Honky Building and Broadway. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any candidates for the library board or the school board here also? Other than Don? All right, if there are any of those, we'd give them 5 minutes also. Who volunteers? Who's next? Come on up. Don't start the timer until she says something.
Well, good evening, and contrary to what Terry says, I do have a little bit of historic preservation. Good evening. My name is Mary Bowles. I'm currently your city clerk, and I want to say thank you again for RiverBender.com and Alton Area Landmarks Association for sponsoring this forum. I'd also like to thank you for your continued support as your city clerk. As always, my priorities are to continue to serve to the best of my ability allowed under the guidelines and laws associated with the office of city clerk. As I was reading the invitation and noting that we were encouraged to give our views of historical preservation at Alton, I immediately thought with the city clerk's profession, that would not be a problem. The city clerk's position is the oldest among public servants and the keeper of the records. This is where historical comes in, preserving the history of Alton. The city clerk's office has kept and continues to keep the journals of all meetings of the city council, in addition to keeping a ledger of all the city ordinances passed by the city council. I do and I will continue to preserve those records in the utmost way as they have been kept from past years to present. I enjoy my profession of serving and assisting the citizens of Alton. And with that, I would like to thank you, and I would ask for your vote on April 9th. Thank you.
Who's next? Who wants to go next? Sure, come on up. So I was already proven wrong that that position.
My name is David Bowles. I'm the 7th Ward Alderman, currently seeking re-election. I hate to speak after my wife because she's a much better speaker than me. It makes me look bad. I was about to say there's nothing in the 7th Ward that's historical, but Mr. Huber educated me just a few minutes ago that there's 2 people buried in the Milton Cemetery from the Lewis and Clark expedition. There is servicemen buried there from the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. So I guess we're a little historic out there. Alton's historical preservation is a must. It's the lifeblood of our town. Without our old buildings, our homes, our brick streets, our antiques, and the history of Lincoln, Robert Wadlow, Lovejoy, and the federal prison, and much more, where would we be? I'm not telling you anything new, it's only the facts. But sometimes, living among all of this, we tend to assume that it will always be there. I know it takes a lot of hard work to preserve our historical district, and I commend the landmarks for these efforts. And I tell you that I'll do what I can to keep our town's historic district alive. And I thank you. Is my 5 minutes are up?
Any questions for Mr. Bowles?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who wants to go next?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beth Johns, and I'm running for 2nd Ward Alderman. I would like to thank the Alton Area Landmarks for the invitation to speak and for all of you for attending. I was born and raised in Alton, and now along with my husband am raising 3 daughters here. I am a graduate of Marquette High School, earned an associate's degree from Lewis and Clark Community College, and am a member of St. Mary's Church. I have worked in accounting and office management for 25 years. I have been employed with the Madison County Auditor, Comprehensive Accounting, and the Woodlands Golf Club. I now own and manage a union industrial painting company doing $2 million in sales this last year. I'm running for alderman because the last 4 years the residents of the Second Ward have not had the representation that they need. The Second Ward citizens need a strong voice and also a person with business management and a person that can run a successful business to represent them. Others can say that they have worked on different communities, have worked well on a team, will voice your concerns, cut expenses, lower taxes, answer phone calls, and fix your problems. What they cannot say is that I have years of business experience, managed offices and staff, audited books, and started and run a successful company in today's tough economy. That is what is needed on the City Council, and I can bring that. I believe the 3 historical districts, Christian Hill, Middletown, and Upper Alton, should be maintained and promoted. Our historic element is part of what makes up the character of our city and a primary element to attract tourists, new homeowners, and also new business. I have been involved in the renovation of several homes in these areas. While growing up, my parents renovated homes in the Middletown and Christian Hill area, and my husband and I renovated our first home in Upper Alton. I believe that the housing code should be strictly and fairly enforced with emphasis on rental properties. I am motivated and hardworking with very high expectations of myself, and I will expect that of every employee of the city. I have the tenacity to go toe-to-toe with the city council members, and I will stand firm until the residents of the Second Ward are satisfied. I can and will get results. I will be responsible to the citizens of Alton, will stand up for safe and clean neighborhoods and parks, open and honest government, and be fiscally responsible. Most importantly, I have the business financial experience that is necessary to move the city forward. I have already sat down with Fire Chief Siebold and Police Chief Waldrop, and we have discussed their budget, personnel, and a brief overview of the way their departments operate. Know that now is the best time for your interests to come first, so I urge all of you to please vote for Beth Johns. In closing, when you go to the polls, remember 2 and 2. Second Ward Alderman, second name on the ballot. Thank you.
Any questions?
I don't want any questions.
Yes,
I don't want any questions.
yeah, the quarry on Albee is in your ward.
Yes.
Do you have any positives or negatives to speak about the rock quarry?
The only thing I have to say about the quarry is I do not promote having a landfill in the middle of Alton.
Who would like to go next?
Looks like my shortness will come in handy for this mic. Good evening. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Cheryl Roshkob, running for First Ward Alderman. I do have 2 grown sons. I moved in this area in 1996, married to my husband, Danny. Been employed with American Water for 12 years, as well as I've been a real estate agent in this area, which taught me a lot about the residents of Alton and the historical part of Alton, and being in some of those homes on Christian Hill for open houses was a real joy. It was a beautiful area, which is part of the area I would service, of course, and definitely a historic area. And I can also definitely say that the roads are in need of some work. I've been up and down those campaigning and almost killed myself a couple times. That's definitely going to be something. We want to preserve that history with those roads. We want to maintain them. We want to keep them brick, of course, but we're going to have to look at maintaining them and keeping our historical value with them. Everyone knows Alton is built on brick. I mean, it's beautiful here. I have people that are constantly emailing me, talking to me about it. Yeah, I remember living there in 1995. It's a beautiful area. There's nothing like it. The only thing comparable to us in this area is St. Charles, I believe. And I believe if we do this right, if we have a good campaign here and we have the right people in place, the next 4 years we can surpass St. Charles. They have surpassed us, I feel. I feel that they've got everything to offer that we have to offer. However, I feel that they have brought more to their downtown area. and we can do the same and exceed in that. We just need the right guidance to do so, and a lot of these historical organizations are the best place to start. There's a lot of resources. And bringing that to the attention of these organizations, to obtain the goal, I believe we need to closely work with the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the U.S. Department of Interior. In 2012, the National Trust for Historical Preservation awarded $3.9 million in historic preservation grant funding to 225 projects nationwide. The U.S. Department of Interior awarded more than $138,000 in local Illinois communities in January of 2013. Alton needs to be first on the list to receive these types of grants. We definitely qualify for them. As quoted in an article published by Virginia Pilot, historic preservation is a true economic engine. Researchers have found that $1 million invested in historic rehabilitation produces more jobs, income, and state local taxes than $1 million invested in new construction, highway construction, machinery, manufacturing, agricultural, and telecommunications. Alton simply cannot afford to pass these added revenues up the historic preservation can produce. Alton shines with active community organizations willing to offer endless volunteer efforts. These organizations need a strong alderman to assist in achieving these efforts and the beautification and betterment they strive so effortless to maintain. I will be an advocate for all these agencies, and I will stand strong, work to improve our historic area as well as our residential areas and maintain our roads. And going forward, we hope that we can make Alton a greater place than it already is. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Who would like to go next? Sure. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Julie Campbell. I'm the Alton Township Assessor. First, I'd like to thank the Alton Area Landmarks Association for inviting me to this forum. And I'd also like to thank the RiverBender for letting us have it here. I started in the Assessor's Office in 1984. I've always loved historical homes. Alton has so many styles and characteristics of homes. The Victorians with the turrets and the colonial homes and their enduring charm are just a few. I decided to run for assessor in '89 when my employer retired. I achieved my Certified Illinois Assessing Officer designation in 1988 and an advanced designation later. I have over 800 hours of coursework. I enjoyed my interaction with the public, and I just want to thank you all for allowing me to remain your assessor. It's my privilege to be the assessor and serve the citizens of Alton.
Any questions for our assessor? No? All right, thank you very much. Oh, there.
You know, I've never spoken to an assessor before, but I hear from you a couple times a year. So, how do you, just a question, how do you go about in this market? I mean, I have a house in Christian Hill. I can't get it appraised fairly because there isn't one like it anywhere. How do you?
Well, in your individual case, what we would do is you'd contact our office, set up an interior review. We would send some people through it. Then I examine all the pictures and try to determine what your house, maybe it has old plumbing and old wiring and old heating, but might be updated in the kitchen and a different room. So basically what I do is a weighted effective age and come up with what I think that the property's overall age is. And then from that, I determine what the value is based on other homes in the area that are similar to yours and try to come up with a value that way.
It's educational. You can get college credit for doing this. All right. Who'd like to go next?
Good evening. I'd like to thank Alton Area Landmarks Association and RiverBender for hosting this tonight. For those of you who do not know, I am Ramon Morales, and I am running for 7th Ward Alderman. I, along with the Alton Area Landmarks, am 43 years old. I just found that out. I think I have them by 1 month. I was born here in Alton, have lived here in Alton all my life. I've resided in the 7th Ward for over 30 years. I've been married for 17 years to Keitra Martine, and we have resided in the 7th Ward during that time. She is a second grade school teacher here in the Alton School District. My father was Michael Morales. My family has lived here in the Alton area for 80 years, over 80 years. My father was involved in the Alton community as a volunteer for many different organizations. He was a baseball and soccer coach for Park and Rec. Many years ago, he was a commercial artist. He did the storefronts down here in downtown Alton during the holiday seasons when they actually used to paint decorations on the windows and everything. He instilled a great love for this city. I get my passion for the city from my father. He passed away in 2009. I attended St. Matthew's Catholic Grade School and Church. I graduated from Alton Senior High, and I attended Lewis and Clark Community College and Bradley University. Usually when I introduce myself, people ask me, are you the plumbing guy or are you the taco guy? I'm proud to say I'm a part of Morales Tacos. Along with my family, we opened Ole Morales Tacos down here in downtown Alton in 2001. I've worked in the hospitality industry for over 25 years. Being in that industry and as a young adult, I learned to communicate, interact, and listen to a wide variety of people. Over the years, Alton's population has decreased. I have watched many of my friends and fellow Alton High graduates leave the Alton area, and they choose to reside outside the Alton area in communities like Godfrey, Thalto, and Edwardsville. My wife and I have chosen to stay here in Alton, and we will continue to stay here. Alton has always been a town with rich history. As a child, I was constantly reminded of that history as we visited family that lived in the Christian Hill area, Upper Alton area, and the Middletown area. Often my parents would point out different landmarks, and I remember taking many drives up the River Road to see the Pie-Saw bird and going by the Franklin House, and Mom and Dad telling us, hey, that's where Lincoln spent the night there, President Lincoln spent the night there. So we were always very aware of the history of Alton. I feel the history of Alton is the greatest asset the city has. This city's leaders should make the preservation of Alton's history a top priority. As your alderman, I will work to improve the image of Alton, and I look forward to being accessible, listening to your concerns and issues, and working with you to reach solutions. One of my priorities would be to keep Alton's history, its landmarks, and historical sites something that can be treasured now and for future generations. We also need to use Alton's rich history to further promote tourism. We need to make Alton more desirable and create a welcoming environment for new business, new residents, and new ideas. My name is Ramon Morales, and I would appreciate your vote for 7th Ward Alderman on April 9th. Thank you.
Any questions?
Ray, being from a minority family, is there anything or any ideas you have to increase the voter participation among minorities, African American, Hispanic, like whatever? And also, can everybody in here get a free taco?
It's funny that you mentioned the taco. I'll address that one first. We actually, as you know, we're not downtown anymore, but we still continue to sell out of our trailer, and we do the fairs, and that's actually how we got started. Well, as of yesterday, we have a mobile app that if you download our mobile app on your smartphone, you might be able to get a free taco. And as to encouraging minorities to get out and vote, I've always been a registered voter. I voted since I was 18. It's something I take very seriously, and I try to pass that along to people that I talk to, and I try to encourage them to vote. If you want to complain about something and you don't vote, you really don't have any voice. So that's why I try to remind them.
Great, thank you very much. Who would like to go next?
Hello, my name is Cindy Roth, and I'm the Alton City Treasurer. I will be running for my 3rd term as treasurer. And a little bit about myself is I've been married to my husband Bob for 38 years, almost 39 years. and we have lived in the Middletown area all our lives, all our married lives. I am a lifelong Middletown resident, having grown up in a home that was built in 1888, and the home we live in was built in 1918. So I truly appreciate historical value. My husband doesn't appreciate fixing the historical value, but that's part of it. I am a fifth generation Altonian. I have attended St. Mary's Church, historical St. Mary's Church, all my life. And grew up with my parents having been members of the Lyman Trumbull Association. So from way back, I was appreciative of the history and value of Alton homes. We have 7 grandchildren, and we just love living in this town, and we'll be lifelong residents and don't plan on leaving.
Any questions for her? No? Thank you very much. Who would like to go next? Yes, come right up.
Good evening. My name is Darrell McGibbony. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight on such a cold and windy night. I thank Dennis and Landmarks and RiverBender for hosting. It's so nice to see so many people coming out being interested in the politics of Alton. I'm running for 3rd Ward Alderman. I've lived there for 37 years. I grew up in the Milton area, but my wife Rita and I chose to move to the Middletown area because we think it's probably one of the nicest places you could be in Alton if you're going to be an Altonian. Our home is over 100 years old, almost as old as I am. It's actually in better shape than I am. But we enjoy it. We enjoy the neighborhood. We consider the Middletown area part of our home. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, that's part of our home. And I can't ever see my wife and I ever wanting to leave it. A concern I do have about the Middletown area, though, is the rock quarry, and I'm glad the question was raised. I've lived there for 37 years, and I've watched the activity in the rock quarry damage my home inside and out. If you live in the Middletown area, you've experienced the same thing. So I'm not in favor of any further expansion of the rock quarry, and the day it's closed, as far as I'm concerned, will be a good day for the Middletown area. I hope I don't offend anyone by saying that, but after 37 years, that's the way I feel. I certainly believe in the mission of Landmarks. My folks volunteered a number of times during their senior years to support Landmarks and its mission here in Alton, to keep the character and the culture of Landmarks. It's what helps make Alton, I think. I think it keeps people here who love the city, and I think it brings people here, whether it's to visit or to bring money. It's a sound fiscal investment that we keep Middletown, Christian Hill, Upper Alton, Milton, as I now found out, places that are attractive to people to come to. I was president of our state probation association when I was in probation for approximately 34 years. And I had people from all over the state of Illinois come to Alton and praise it for its look and its demeanor. It was like no other town that these people had seen before. And I would want to do everything I could if I'm elected to support Landmark's mission to keep it that way, to keep my neighborhood and the other neighborhoods in Alton the way they are now. I think that's critically important for all of us. Jim Ryan mentioned the Cracker Factory. Want to make sure I didn't say Cracker Barrel Factory because my wife loves Cracker Barrel. The Cracker Factory was long overdue to be repaired. I'm glad to see that. I would support that and those kinds of efforts here in the city. It's only good for the city of Alton. It's good for everybody that's sitting in here because I'm sure that's a major reason why you're here tonight, to listen to each one of us and what we have to say about the culture, the character, the demeanor of Alton, Illinois. In my profession, a highly successful profession, in probation or even since my retirement, I've been to no other city like Alton. I've had plenty of opportunities to go other places, bigger cities, more influential cities, if you will. This is where I raised my children. This is where my wife and I still stay, and this is where we'll always be. Again, I want to thank Landmarks and RiverBender for hosting, and I really want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It's good to see so many of you here. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Questions for Darren? Thank you very much. We're speeding right along. Okay, we're doing good. Who would like to go next? Okay, we have a volunteer.
I brought this, but I don't think I need it. I can speak from the heart. My name is Carol McAfee. I'm running for Second Ward Alderwoman, and I would like to say I have lived in Alton all my life. I grew up in historical Middletown on Liberty Street. I can go back and remember when Duke's Bakery was a candy store. And yeah, Ann's sitting here. I presently live on 10th Street, which is surrounded by two magnificent historical homes that were restored over the years. One of the biggest things that I think made our neighborhood better was Margaret Hopkins took the old Duncan home and turned it into a mansion. I was friends, my husband and I, with Elsie Duncan, who lived there and was raised there, and we were so pleased to see that home restored to its grandeur. I've been head of Pride Incorporated. I was president, and I've been on their board for 28 years. It gives me great pleasure to give some of the historical homes in Alton the Pride Award. They've been on our garden tours. We have Home of the Month. In fact, one of the older homes that sits on Alton Street at 10th was named Home of the Month, and it was another older historical home, and we gave them Home of the Month. I went to Lincoln School, and it was very sad to see that school tore down when it burnt. That used to be Alton's first high school, if nobody knows that. I will do everything that I can to support the Historical Society. Terry knows my mother and I both have volunteered to be hostesses for the tours, and we've supported them over the years. And I think they do a wonderful job, and I definitely think that Alton should preserve all their historical buildings and all the homes that they can preserve. It is our history. I see busloads of people come through Middletown just to see our houses, and I'm sure they go through Christian Hill also. But as an alderperson, if I'm elected, I will definitely support Alton Area Landmarks. And remember, I'm #1 for your support, and I'm #1 on the ballot. Thank you.
Any questions for her? Any questions? Thank you very much. Somebody moving this way? Is he moving this way? All right, good.
Good evening. My name is Michael Veloff. For those of you who do not know me, I'm 42-year-old as of today. My wife and children have been in the back, Beverly. We have Clara and Kane. They're 6 and 4 years old. I was born and raised here in Alton. I attended St. Matthew's Catholic Grade School on Milton Road. I graduated valedictorian, Alton High School, class of '89. I served in the United States Air Force. I graduated from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale with a BS in civil engineering. I graduated from the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk, if anybody knows what that means, with a master's in civil engineering. For the last 19 years, I've served as a civil engineer in the private sector, working as a civil engineer. I'm currently employed by the Heidemann Associates in St. Louis as a civil engineer manager there. And for the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of serving as Ward 3 alderman. I returned to Alton in 2000 to be close to my family and returned to a city rich in history and architecture. I purchased my home in Middletown Historic District. I own the newest house on 15th Street. It was built in 1936 by the Jacobys. It is only 77 years old, but being located within a historic neighborhood, it enriches my house and its value. As alderman, I've advocated and will continue to advocate for the Friends of Haskell for proper maintenance of Haskell House, Lucy's Playhouse, and the park itself. I've applied my work experience, engineering expertise, reading contracts and proposals to help limit the city's liability and exposure in taxpayer money. I gave my opinion on contracts, leases, and easements, and amended where necessary. I performed a professional engineering review of the completed downtown parking lot and sidewalks adjacent to the renovated Snyder's and Sears building, saving city taxpayer future liability and maintenance costs. I was a sole supporter of the Historic Commission's recommendation for the Grand Theater. If you weren't there, I felt like I was in an architectural history class again, listening to Monica Mason's presentation of the Grand. My parents, Jim and Rita Veloff, met at the Grand while working there. You know, if it wasn't for the Grand, I may not be here today. For 19 years, I've worked with many different city zoning codes. I've offered changes to the Alton zoning code to promote adequate screening, separation, and buffers between residential and commercial districts, and limit noise and pollution to the ambient levels. I proposed amendments to the multimodal zoning code for Wildwood Golf Course, offering changes to protect the residents of Muna Vista with proper landscape buffers, landscape density, site-proof fencing, restrictions for noise and light pollution, and proper protection of the water quality of the stream the city just recently stabilized. I requested architectural standards for the whole development so an architectural theme exists and the development flows. I support historic preservation. It's green. It's cheaper to renovate an existing structure than to tear it down and build new. It makes physical sense. It's cheaper to renovate an existing structure than to build new. Historic preservation increases property values. My example, my own house. Again, my house is only 77 years old. But because I live in a historic district, the architecture of the historic neighborhood increases my property value as well. Landmarks. Our historic buildings are landmarks. Their character and charm are priceless. The structures were built to last. The sheer historic value is priceless. Well-maintained buildings for our descendants to cherish. Once they're torn down, there's no return. They're lost forever. If a structure must be demolished, why not try to at least save some of the architectural features, the limestone, the brick, and incorporate that into a new structure? In the next 4 years, I'd like to see some changes in the zoning code, an architectural review board or design review board so we maintain the integrity of new structures and renovation of old, so we do not have another colorful Johnny Vegas on Broadway. Amendments to the zoning code are previously mentioned earlier, and the multimodal zoning district as well. Maybe we should try some things that more successful cities are doing rather than keep doing the same things we've done in the past. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and please vote Veloff on April 9th. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Alton Area Landmarks for hosting this candidates forum and giving me an opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Monica Mason. I'm not from Alton. My husband and I made a conscious decision to move here 18 years ago and call Alton our home. My educational background is I have a master's degree in art history, and art theory from Vermont College of Norwich University. I have a bachelor's degree from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. And I also have an associate's degree from St. Louis Community College at Florissant Valley. Excuse me. My professional experience is I taught college for 20 years, art and art history from 1987 to 2007 at St. Louis Community College, at Lewis and Clark Community College, and at SIU Edwardsville. There's an interesting little humble little sign on Landmarks Boulevard that I always find a good thing to look at every time I pass it. It says, "Welcome to Historic Alton." And I think it's important because it's a daily reminder of what our history really means. There's two components to our history. One, the narrative, the stories that we tell about the founding and development of our community. but in equal measure is the physical manifestation of our history, and that is our architecture. Our architecture is the physical evidence of our history. As a visual art, architecture is a pure and true reflection of our goals and our aspirations at any time in our given history. I think our economic future success is going to be largely contingent on our recognition of the potential value of our historic architecture, our protection of that architecture, and our ability to capitalize on this architecture. This is, after all, what brings people to our city. This is what brings that day tourist who comes to Alton. This is what brings that small business owner to come to our town and set up business here. This is what brings that young couple to our city to buy their first home. I know that young couple very well because 18 years ago that young couple was Monica Mason and my husband Richard Osborne, people who made a conscious decision to adopt this city as their own. Right now we're at a very pivotal point in our history. We need to be making very informed, very innovative decisions about how we choose to capitalize on our architecture. These kind of decisions require well-informed thought-making processes, well-informed decisions, and a proven record of active participation in historic preservation in a variety of forums. This is my experience. For the last several years, I've been a proud commissioner on the Alton Historic Commission. The commission is basically a community service. We provide advice and information concerning architectural styles. We confer advice concerning building and zoning issues like structure, like building, like engineering. We work very closely with building and zoning so that we're giving expert advice. One of the proudest moments I had on the Historic Commission was the advice we gave to the owner and the architects of the Cracker Factory. This could have wound up as a very sad, tragic story, one more building torn down, one more gaping hole on Broadway. But instead, it's a building under construction, a building that's going to be revitalized and see new life. As a historic commissioner, I'm also very active in my attendance with statewide preservation conferences. The last conference we held was at Lewis and Clark Community College, and the theme of our conference was "Old is the New Green." This is a philosophy I could not agree with anymore. Cities across America are adopting this philosophy. Old is the new green. Cities like Alton are finding that it's much more economically feasible to revitalize and refurbish rather than to demolish and fill our landfills. Green is a new movement that is allowing cities to revitalize their historic business districts. It's important that we remember not to dump our architectural heritage in our landfills. I'm also an active board member of Alton Area Landmarks. This is a position I'm very proud to hold. I'm proud to be part of the organization that fought very valiantly to save City Hall, a building that we are all proud of today. I'm also proud to be part of this organization because we did make a fight. We did make a stand to try to save the Grand Theater. Although we didn't emerge victoriously with the Grand Theater, we still made the public aware of the importance of this historic structure. And I still have confidence that something may occur with the Grand Theater. I'm also the chairperson of the Historic House Tour each year. I'm the person that comes to your door and knocks and begs you to be part of our house tour. Last summer, when it was 100 degrees, I knocked on over 200 doors asking people who lived in beautiful historic homes to be part of our tour. My participation in the house tour involves doing extensive research of all the properties, writing bios for each of the houses, producing the catalog for the house tour, and also promoting the tour as well. I think we're at a very pivotal time in the history of Alton right now. It's a pivotal time in that we need to update our perceptions concerning our historic architecture. We need to upgrade our standards in terms of the appearance of our historic neighborhoods and our historic business districts. We need to be developing incentives for creative reuse of our historic business districts. We also need to be encouraging appropriate new construction that is completely in sympathy with our existing architecture. Right now it's time for innovation. Right now it's time for new ideas. Right now it's time to put someone on city council that has a long proven record in diverse historical preservation projects. Now is the time to vote for me, Monica Mason, April 9th, and I thank you very much for listening.
Why are you running for alderman or alderwoman, not mayor? All right, who would like to go make tacos too?
My name is Jackie Morris. I'm an alum of Marquette, class 78. One of my classmates is here, and Mr. Slaughter's here. Our founder would be amazed at what this town is right now, how big it is when he first set up the city, and that he would also be amazed at some of the legends like Miles Davis or Robert Wadlow. Last year we celebrated 175 years of incorporation, as well as honored the memory of Reverend Lovejoy. My question to Mayor Hassett would be, where's that statue of Lovejoy I suggested in a letter to the editor? As mayor, I would work with community groups like the Landmark Association to raise the necessary funds to pay for the renovation of the Grand Theater. That theater is part of this town's history. No city tax dollars would be used for the restoration. Now, Edwardsville and Jerseyville would go ahead and figure out a way to renovate their own theaters. Why can't Alton do the same? Any questions? I guess not.
Hello. My name is Tom Hakes, and I am your mayor as of today. And I'm also the author of the Historic Preservation Ordinance that went into effect in 1997. I'm the guy that wrote that ordinance, and that's why the Historic Commission was formed. When I ran for my first term as mayor, my strategy was to continue, and my message was to grow the city's economy, to create jobs, to reduce crime, and improve services to our residents and businesses. Well, when I first hit the door in 2009, I was hit with a $2.6 million deficit that grew before the end of my first month. I was immediately faced with keeping the city from sinking into total financial ruin. We were about 8 paydays away from our employees getting paid, and we were about probably another 30 days away from all city services being interrupted. However, my vision of a flourishing, safe, and efficient city were never far from my thoughts. We learned to think outside the box. We implemented efficiencies, we restructured our workforce, and we have learned to live within our means. We reduced expenses through attrition, and public safety was never compromised. No one lost their job as a result of this. And most importantly, it was a team effort. It took all the employees, it took all the union and non-union employees who took pay freezes, and that gave us ample time to develop a financial plan to lend us some stability in the future. We are now operating, I'm proud to say, at full steam ahead, and the great news is we did not balance this budget by raising taxes. What's exciting about the past 4 years is that during that downturn, or recession if you will, schools, private and public, hospitals, Southern Illinois University Dental School, and private investors have invested well over $100 million in this community, and that's very conservative. It's closer to the $150 million mark. This was jobs, new starts, expansion, job expansion, and these brought hundreds of jobs to Alton. Included in that mix are 4 of Alton's most historic buildings, which would have continued to fall into further disrepair without the city's involvement. The Cracker Factory's been mentioned. The Sears and Snyder project's been mentioned with 30 jobs. They're about to wrap that up in another month with another 35 jobs coming. The Simmons Law Firm sat vacant for 5 years, 225 jobs. And this very building we're in tonight sat vacant for years. There are now over 30 businesses in this building and well over 100 jobs, and those 100 jobs aren't included in the ones I talked about previously. New businesses opened up along the Homer Adams Parkway, the expansion of services by Illinois American Water Company, Imperial Manufacturing, Ascon, Simmons, Zemer, Fruse. That's just to name a few that have created well over 500 jobs, good paying jobs. All of these investments pumped millions of dollars into our economy. I work with the business community daily and our friends in labor, and we have shown that these were prudent decisions by businessmen to move into the city of Alton. We have a city administration that is very helpful, business-friendly, and Alton does have a qualified workforce. Through a combination of budget cuts, most of which had little effect on the city services and the residents, we demonstrated that it is possible to provide Alton quality public services while living within our means. I have a plan for the next 4 years, and that's to continue finding new efficiency, to continue reducing crime, which was reduced by 17% in the last 4 years, to continue to create more than those 500 or 600 jobs we talked about, and to make Alton a destination for tourists, shoppers, residents, and businessmen. The construction of our new multimodal transportation facility will be a welcome mat. It'll be the first thing people coming in from the Texas Eagle will see, and that is part of the reason we got that money. This is Illinois. That's what they want to see. I met with Congressman Enyart today, and I'll be in Washington, D.C. with him next Tuesday, and this project's about ready to fly. A new riverfront and a hotel convention center will draw visitors and will enhance the city's offering to tourists. We'll continue to improve streets, roads, bridges, and sewer projects, and that improves the quality of life for all of our citizens. We could not have achieved any of these successes in my administration without the support of labor, without the support of our employees, the business community, and the support of you, the residents. I promised I would improve our finances 4 years ago, and we have. I promised we would make our neighborhoods safer, and we have. I promised I would bring jobs to Alton, and we have. Elections ultimately are a choice. My opponents have not offered one proposal about bringing jobs to Alton. My opponents have not mentioned one idea of how to keep our finances in order. Not one solution to make our neighborhoods safer and how to increase on that 17% drop in crime. So you can choose on one hand a vague vision which offers very obvious goals, or choose a candidate that has proven what he can do. He has kept his promises, delivering with the results he said he would. I am proud of the progress we have made, and I'm looking for your vote and support on April 9th. Thank you.
One question. Yeah, I was wondering, done according to your facts and your statements, brought business, helped business grow and everything. That's great. What are you doing, or what is your plan or idea to continue to help residents stay in the area, maybe bring residents in, any incentives in that?
Well, jobs bring people in. We've created over 600. We've probably created, I'm going to be very conservative, I'll say we've created 600 jobs. So that's a start. People like to live close to where they work.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Could you get behind the microphone, please?
I'm sorry. So that's one thing. We have to get our finances in order. Without that's the key to everything we did. Without our finances in order, we wouldn't even be sitting here today. This city was that close to insolvency. So by creating jobs, by attracting new businesses, that's how your city grows. We've torn down over 200 derelict structures, and we're going to continue to hopefully tear down another 200 within the next 4 years.
And I understand that, and I appreciate that, but I mean, I think what I keep reading and hearing is that the actual population continues to decrease.
Sure it does, because you're, sure.
Just wondering, you know, I mean, what are you doing to...
Well, to give you an example, we tore down 200 structures over the last 4 years, but we had 39 new home starts last year. Most of the stuff, not most of it, 100% of what we're tearing down, it's like if you're a gardener, you got to prune a rose bush to make it flourish again. We've got derelict structures all over town, and nobody is going to, you don't want to move in next door to one. They invite crime. They're an eyesore. So you have to get rid of that. It's like ridding vermin out of your barn if you're a farmer. You have to get rid of that before things will flourish and come back again.
Well, actually, I did move into a house that has a lot of homes like that around me, and with the hopes of building community through community gardens and just getting out and visiting people and trying to open up my home to them. So, you know.
That's good. People with that kind of forward thinking can be stability to a neighborhood. We appreciate that.
As far as community gardening goes, what would the city of Alton be willing to do for people to help in community gardening?
Well, we have vacant lots. We've participated before. We've even had our people go out and till up the gardens for them. There's a couple different organizations that have tried that in the last couple of years. Been somewhat successful. But yeah, if you have we do that all over town. If you have a vacant lot next to you that's city owned, I can't go on private property. Yeah, we could arrange to you for a community garden. We'd love that kind of stuff. It's all part of the new Going Green. And I didn't even touch on all the green.
All right, thank you very much.
Pardon me, sir?
What department would
You just call City Hall, my office, and leave a message, 463-3500. Okay? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brent Walker, and I'm a write-in for candidate for Alton Mayor. I'd like to begin first by thanking the Landmarks Association for sponsoring tonight's forum. And as you can see this evening, the mayor and I disagree on a lot of things. And you'll see some difference and some separation between us. But we're going to focus mostly on the redevelopment and why I'm here. But you would think with all the jobs that claims have been produced by business, that our unemployment rate would not have went from 10.2 to 10.6 under this administration. Why we need to refocus business development. And I'll be happy to answer those questions. I'll be here after because we do have a specific plan. I graduated from the University of Missouri in St. Louis with a business degree. I traveled quite a bit, and one of the reasons that when I got back off the road and decided to start my family, I chose Alton because of the historical buildings, and it's just a beautiful city, the architecture of the city, the streets. My first property was probably 7 years to get that thing fixed. It was built about 1870. The house I am currently in was a duplex. I restored it back into its natural state as a single-family, beautiful single-family home. It was built in 1885. My office building, I've had a business here in Alton for over 15 years. And last year, I have an employment agency. Last year, I put over close to 200 people to work at various companies throughout this region. And over the last 2 years, I put over 500 people to work. I bought the old Comstock grocery store for you guys that are familiar with Alton. It sat vacant for 10 years. And during closing, it was over there in Highland and Brown, there was a gentleman at closing I bought the property from. He said, "You're crazy." I disagreed with him. It was a beautiful building. The only thing I disagreed with the city on is they wouldn't let me keep my tin ceilings in that building because I had to have a fire break and I couldn't take them down and put them back up. My uncle bought a house on Liberty Street. It was on the city's tear down list. They were going to tear that property down. It since then has been restored and his family is now living in that home. Every property that I have purchased, I've went through over 12 properties in this city that were either distressed, either drug houses, or been vacant for years and years, like where my office building was sat empty for 10 years. I believe in what this organization stands for. It's absolutely the reason I chose to live in Alton. With regards to this tear down, I think the city needs to come together with a comprehensive program for tearing down and not tearing down. You go to this side of town, you tear down one lot, you run over here and you tear down another lot. Random empty lots scattered throughout our city does nothing to help it grow. We have to have a block by block plan, a comprehensive plan where we work with developers and we work with homeowners, that when we tear these structures down, that new affordable housing goes up so that it promotes home ownership. 4 years ago, the nearest numbers we can tell, and this will be a very specific plan, because you've heard I don't have one. 4 years ago, I looked at the numbers. This town was 39% rental. According to the Gateway East-West report this year, Alton is now 42% and going in the other direction. That is an unhealthy number by any standard. The healthy mix is about 25%. A lot of our rental stock is not in great shape. One of the things that I would like to do, and again, these numbers are arbitrary because landlords are not licensed in our city. That means you can come in here, start a business, not get a business license, and if you play the game right, which a lot of them do, I mean, a vast majority of our landlords are good, but we have some that will get a property, fix it, keep the utilities in their name, and never have to have an inspection. I think that's wrong. Landlords will be licensed. There will be inspections on each and every property, and our ordinances will be enforced. Another thing that I would like to bring up, which is also very specific, I've seen where we write citations, and we write citations, and we write citations. Well, I really don't see the effects yet with the litter and weeds in the streets and lots. But what I would also like to see is when we write these citations, I would like to see Alton, which we can do. We're a home rule city. I want to see an administrative court, which means we can enforce our own ordinances. That means if you violate an Alton ordinance, you don't go to Edwardsville. You come to Alton and you answer to the people of Alton. We can enforce our own ordinances. We can clean up our city. We can get a handle on our rental property. And we should have more of a comprehensive plan, not random vacant lots. They tore down a property across the street from my house. It was a triple brick building with a stone foundation. Did the building need to be torn down? Yes, it was unsafe. But what I don't understand is why, when we tear these properties down, they took that building, knocked it down, put it in a truck, and dumped it. Why aren't our properties, when they need to be torn down, why aren't they resalvaged in the history of this town, reclaimed, recycled, reused, instead of just paying a tipping fee and dumping the stone and the brick in a dump? It doesn't make any sense. It broke my heart to see that building just knocked down and thrown out. You cannot get that type of building material anymore, and I think it is a waste that we wreck it. Again, in 5 minutes, it's hard. If you guys have any specific plans, because contrary to the opponent's popular belief, we do have a specific plan. Licensing, enforcement of our own ordinances, through administrative courts, through more stringently enforcing our own ordinances, we can clean this city up because our population has declined from home ownership. Our rental is going up. We need to turn the city around, and nothing operates in a vacuum. In order to prosper, redevelop, we've got to get unemployment back down, which is also, we have to get crime back down, because our crime is well above national average. Again, I want to thank you guys very much. If you have any questions, I will be here. Feel free to grab me afterwards. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else? There isn't anybody else, right? Is there anybody from school board or library that'd like to speak? We did it in an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you very much for coming out.